This week it's the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters and Ronnie O'Sullivan seems to have got his form back. The three people in the audience seem to appreciate this shot from Iulian Boiko. And Mark Williams plays a shot that looks difficult to even hit hard enough, let alone accurately recreate. But of course that's not going to stop me from attempting to recreate all the best shots as accurately as possible before playing them in the fewest possible attempts. But we begin with Ronnie O'Sullivan, who seems to be back in form and really enjoying his new cue. He's worked out that the only way he can win the frame at this visit is if he gets a black into play, and to do that he needs to get in perfect position here on the red above the black spot. He manages to pot the green, play the cue ball around 3 cushions and land absolutely perfectly. Pace is going to be key to this, as is getting the right hand side correct. I got both wrong on my first attempt, so let's see if I can get this one a bit better. This is all looking good. I've just slightly underhit it. I am on the red, but I couldn't get nicely on the black from it, so I'm going to have another go. This is a bit better. I've got a little bit more pace on it. I'm not as close to the red as Ronnie was, but I'm definitely happy with that. Now that's a really good start, but will things change with this Robertson shot, who was playing so well in the final against Ronnie O'Sullivan? It doesn't even matter he can't see the red here, he still manages to pot it cushion first. This allows him to get the first frame on the board, or to be honest, he'd already won it, and he went on to take the match closely in the deciding frame by 10 frames to 9. Well, that's gone better than expected, but I probably had the red a fraction too far up the table. Have a look at this long red now from Iulian Boiko, who not only pots it, he screws the cue ball off the side cushion back down the table. From here he's able to take a 4-2 lead over Kyron Wilson. However, Kyron will come back into this and take the match by 5 frames to 4, snatching a place in the last 16. And I didn't expect to get this one straight away with a nearly perfect white. If I'm going to have any chance at all of playing this next Mark Allen shot, we're going to have to flip the screen. Well, that never feels good. Either way, Mark played this really accurate shot where he screws the cue ball around 2 cushions with side to open up the 2 reds. This allows him to go on and take the frame, and not only that, make a century break. I'm going to have to be really precise with this one. In theory, I could have just settled with that, but the shot it's left me isn't very straightforward, although it would definitely have been cuttable, so I'm trying to do a little bit better. I've left this one into the middle pocket fairly straightforward as well, but I want to get the cannon in a similar way to Mark and push the red onto the same pocket. I don't think I'm going to get this one perfect, but I know I can do a little bit better than what I have already. And this looks pretty good. I think if I can pot this one with the rest, it's definitely going to be good enough, and it's no problem whatsoever. Revenge for Ronnie now, after losing to Kyron at whatever the previous tournament was called. Hang on. It's not Wuhan, because I haven't got round to doing that yet. It's Shanghai Masters. Revenge for Ronnie now, after losing to Kyron at the Shanghai Masters. This time he pots this crucial long red that gives him the shot at clearing up and taking the match, which he took by 6 frames to 5. As you know, if you've seen all of my recent videos, I had a go at this a couple of weeks ago to show how my scoring system works, and I didn't see the point in doing it again because I didn't really think that was fair, even though I think I'm cueing a little bit better now. This Farakh Ajaib shot gives us another chance to test out my new cloth and see how it compares to what the pros are playing on. Not only does he manage to pot this long red, but he also wins the frame with a 69 break, although he would lose the match ultimately 5-1 to Chris Wakelin. One thing I can be certain about is my new cue doesn't quite screw back as far as my old one did, but for whatever reason it seems to hit the shot slightly straighter, and that's allowing me to get the pots like this more consistently, and I managed to get back far enough as well. 4-1 down. It looks like Stuart Bingham's just swinging at stuff, but this one goes right in the centre of the pocket. He gets in position on the yellow, and he's able to win the next 4 frames in a row. However, Elliot Slessor comes back at him to win the match by 6 frames to 5 in the end. Digging down on a shot like this makes it difficult to control, so I'm pleased it's gone in already, and I've nearly gone too far, but it's just about held up for the yellow. If he misses, it looks like Neil Robertson's going to be using the green for cover here, but in fact he ends up potting this red, giving himself a real chance of making the clearance and snatching the frame off Mark Selby. Unfortunately for Neil, he breaks down on the colours and ends up losing the frame. However, he'd win the next 3 frames, taking the match by 6 frames to 4. And as we already know, going on to take the title. I've slightly underhit this one, but as it's my second attempt, I'm definitely taking it. Ding doesn't have a lot of options on the next shot, but instead of playing the plant, he decides to play the cannon. He plays very thin off the red, gets the perfect cannon, leaves himself on position on the black, and is able to go on and take the frame from here. However, Barry Hawkins found some form after this and managed to come back into it with a couple of centuries, taking the match by 6 frames to 5. After trying this shot a few times now, it is a little bit thin, but I don't think it's too difficult just to get the cannon. But not only am I trying to get the cannon, I'm trying to get out on the black. I think that's going to have to do it. A similar shot now for Mark Williams as he looks to take the deciding frame and make it through to the semi-final. The only difference here being he's behind in the frame and needs to not only pop the red over the pocket and get in position as he does with the pink, but keep the red he played in open play, which he manages to do. However, Mark doesn't end up making the clearance in the end and loses the match by 6 frames to 5 to Elliot Slessor. As you can see, once again, this isn't too difficult of a shot. I'm just struggling to get the cue ball out into the same position as Mark. I'm getting close, but it needs more or less a perfect contact, and I've got it here. I'm on the pink, but unfortunately the red's dropped in the way, although I suppose I've still got the black. The cue ball may appear safe on the bolt cushion, but Yuan Sijun's playing the double. Not only does he get this, he manages to topspin the cue ball onto the side cushion and then top cushion, back down in position on the bolt colours. He'd end up losing this match by 5 frames to 3 to Mark Williams. Although I'm close to getting the red on my first attempt, the cue ball's heading in the wrong direction. To get it right, I need to play the shot with a lot of topspin to make it arc towards the side cushion and hit the side cushion just before the pocket. I've got it near enough perfectly here and just a tiny bit short of pace, but that's more or less spot on. And up against that, we got Judd Trump, who's already won the frame, but needlessly plays the pink off the side cushion as a double into the middle pocket and gets it perfectly. So let's have a go at this, and it looks like I'm going to have to play the shot with quite a lot of left-hand side, which is bound to make it a little bit harder. Which in theory shouldn't be too difficult because all I've really got to do is double the pink off its spot with a little bit of side. But I seem to be making it a little bit too difficult, and this is one of those that doesn't quite work as easily as it possibly should do. It was definitely in there before I got the double kiss. So which is the cheekiest double, this needlessly pointless shot or the previous one? Cue the music. Now the Yuan Sijun shot is decent and gets him 3, but the Judd Trump shot is just so unnecessary and pointless, it gets him 4 and he's this week's winner. I'm impressed now with just how casually Zhao Xintong is able to pot this long red and screw the cue ball back from the pink. It's actually quite a long way away, but he just does it so easily and is able to go on and win the frame from here. However, he'd end up losing the match by 6 frames to 5 against Wakelin. I am a little bit worried about cue power, but you can see with my first attempt I more or less got there. I'm happy to get it on my second attempt, and I've got the white perfect. A similar shot from Chris Wakelin now in the third frame of that match, where he pots this red possibly with a bit more distance and screws the cue ball back for the blue. He would eventually go on to take this frame. And I'm going to have to cue this a little bit better than the previous shot, as I need to get the white back further. But it's gone in straight away, and I've actually got the shot more or less as good as I can play it. I can't hit it any better anyway. Mark Williams really doesn't have a lot of angle to play with on this pink, but despite that he manages to play the cue ball onto the bulk cushion with exactly the right amount of right hand side to get it to come back down the table and make the cannon on the yellow. This forces it on into the middle pocket, and from here Mark's able to clear up with a 74 break, taking the frame and eventually winning this match by 6 frames to 1. I'm not sure this is going to be that easy to hit hard enough, and getting the exact cannon is going to be incredibly difficult because I just need a fine edge of that yellow, and I think it's going to be possible to go round the back of it and miss it altogether. As you can see, my prediction was right, and this looks like it's going to be incredibly difficult to get a thin cannon on the right hand side of the yellow. It doesn't look like it's going to be too tough to get some form of cannon on it and push it on. In fact, this might be good enough. I could have easily potted that yellow and screwed back for the green, but I'm trying to get it very similar to how Mark got it. It may not be perfect in the end, but I do want it to look close to being the same shot Mark played, and if I just knock the yellow down the cushion, that's not really going to be good enough. What I'm struggling most with on this shot, and I might be close here. No, I've gone around the back of it again. What I'm struggling with most is when I'm playing the shot with this amount of power, putting the correct amount of side spin on the cue ball. It just needs a tiny trace of right hand side, and a little bit can make all the difference here. But as you can see, every now and again I keep hitting one wrong, putting left hand side on it, putting far too much right hand side on the cue ball. And all that together definitely means this shot is taking longer than it should do. That's a bit of check side again. This might be better. In fact, this looks quite good. Can I just get a flick on the yellow? Well, it's not perfect, but I suppose if I can pot this into the corner pocket and get on the green, yeah, that's going to have to do it. If that wasn't tough enough, I've got a similar shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has in this case won the frame already, but still plays a perfect shot around 2 cushions, avoiding the brown, which is going to be a big problem I can see here already, and gets the red away from the cushion from where he's able to pot it. Ronnie was 5-2 behind in this match and was able to come back to win the match by 6 frames to 5 in the end, so this could have given him a lot of confidence. Right, as you can see, I've got quite close to the brown there, but it's still not enough, and I've missed the red on the left-hand side. So let's see if I can get a little bit closer. And I've done it. I've rubbed the red, but I still haven't pushed it on, so I'm going to have to try again and see if I can get even closer to the brown. But that time I've caught it, so I think the only thing I can do is play it with a lot more right-hand side, and hopefully that'll mean I'll hit the cushion further over to the left, but it's going to actually throw the cue ball wider. It's taken me a few shots to learn what exactly is going to happen when I do this, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. This is fairly close. I'm right next to the brown, and I've got the red cushion first. Not perfect, but that's about as good as I'm going to do. This Chris Wakelin shot impressed me because not only did he manage to pot the awkward red with the rest, he's also thinking about getting the other red away from the cushion. Not only does he get it out, but he actually ends up in pretty good position. He'd end up losing this match by 6 frames to 3 against Ronnie, but this was a pretty good effort. I know I've hit the wrong side of the red here, but I'm taking it because I'm in position and this video's already long enough. Elliot Slessor's managed to make it all the way through to the semi-final, where he's faced with this tough pot, but not only does he manage to get it, he screws the cue ball off the side cushion all the way back down the table behind the yellow. This actually allows him to go on and win the frame, but he'd eventually lose the match by 6 frames to 3. And I think this is going to be a problem for us, because although my cloth's more reactive, I don't know if it's going to be good enough to allow me to play a shot like this. Yep, I think we've reached the limit of what I can do, but let's just see what happens if I can pot one at full power with maximum backspin and right hand side. That's causing me a bit of problem with aim at the moment, but it's gone in, and yeah, that's not too bad actually, considering the distance involved anyway. We've got another Mark Williams shot coming up right after we find Yasin, who's from Larache, Morocco, which is there. Oh God, look at all the cobwebs. Go away for 2 weeks and a really accurate, fine shot now from Mark Williams in his match against Sean Murphy. He trims this one along the cushion and it doesn't touch the sides on the way in. I'm not sure how difficult this is going to be, but let's have a go and I'm going to find out. In theory, there shouldn't be much to this one. I've just got to pot it and get top side of the blue, but the cut is a little bit difficult, and what made this shot so good from Mark is he cut it completely accurately into the middle of the pocket. I've got the shot on my 3rd attempt, but I underhit it by quite a long way. So let's have a go again, and I've got it, and just about top side of the blue. The eventual champion Neil Robertson has just rolled the pink in slowly to make sure of the century break, but not only that, manages to cut the black in from this position afterwards. It just goes to show how well he's potting, but let's see if I can do the same. The amount of distance involved in this shot makes it a lot harder than the previous one, but somehow I've managed to cut it in already. But as you saw there, I potted it thick, so I've gone in off, and I'm going to have to try it again. And it's not an easy cut, but it's gone in again, and I've managed to play it thin enough to avoid the pocket, so that's got to be good. Well, we're nearly at the end, but we still have to decide on a winner, and that's up to you. You can vote for free using the link in the description and pick your favourite shot. And if you want to see more shots from previous videos, have a look at these two. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.